It's a miracle. Not only did the dark spots on the sun disappear, but all of the girls have been reincarnated.
That's a nice timeline you got there. It would be a shame if someone were to screw it up.
He's just a stuck-up jerk.
That's what you say now, but who knows? You might have just met your soulmate back there.
What's up everyone, Kaiju no Kami here, and I figured since I just reviewed Sailor Moon Season 1, it was only fitting to go right into Sailor Moon Crystal Season 1 since they both cover the Dark Kingdom arc. For its 20th anniversary, Toei announced that they were working on a brand new anime adaptation of Sailor Moon. At the time, the exact details were unknown, but in 2014, Sailor Moon Crystal was born. Crystal began as a third retelling of the Dark Kingdom arc, which had been previously adapted in the original anime and again in the live-action series in 2003. However, this time it followed the manga a lot more closely compared to its predecessors. Due to this decision, the series featured a more serious tone compared to what anime fans experienced in the 90s, confusing many who were unfamiliar with the source material. While I will be making comparisons between Crystal and the anime from the 90s, they're being used more for a point of reference and a narrative standpoint, as I will be grading Crystal on its own, not how it compares, good or bad. Thus, if you are looking for a bitch fest about how inferior Crystal is compared to the original anime, well, I'm sorry, but your bitch fest is on another channel. Let's take a look at the show's heroes. The heroes. Just like with the original anime, this show features 5 girls and 1 guy having to save the world from an evil organization. Our lead character is of course 14-year-old Asagi Sakino.
I am Sailor Moon!
Asagi is not exactly the smartest girl, as she would rather eat and have fun than actually study for a test.
It's not my fault the other kids always get to school on time.
On her way to school one day, she ends up stepping on a cat that has a bandage on its forehead. Upon removing it, the cat remembers that she is from an ancient moon kingdom that has been sent to Earth to gather up a group of heroes known as the Sailor Guardians, along with finding their moon princess.
My name is Luna.
She gives Asagi a brooch that allows her to transform.
Moon Prism Power! Make up!
Those eyes. It's like they're staring into my soul. What's wrong with them? Whoa, why is it so cold in here suddenly? Oh, it's because I have the air conditioning on too high. Excuse me for 1 minute. Anyway, unlike in the original anime, Asagi seems to be a tad bit more mature here, as she isn't as goofy as she is in the original, despite her laziness. It also helps that she has a big heart, as we come to see, as she can easily make friends with anyone, no matter how shy, tough, or mean they may seem.
Here, would you like to have some too?
Yeah! You sure?
One of her attacks includes being able to use her tiara to slice monsters into pieces.
Moon Tiara! Boomerang!
And it actually has some other uses that were never done in the original anime series. Oh, and can I say that I really like this continuity bit right here with her tiara?
Oh no! My tiara! When I used it in the last battle, it got destroyed!
Her other weapon is the moonstick. However, unlike in the original anime, whereas people would be turned into monsters that she had to restore back to normal, this one doesn't really have that. A lot of the times it's just people getting brainwashed or the city being completely frozen that she has to use the moonstick to heal the entire city. I'd say the powers to be able to heal the entire city is a considerable upgrade, though. Sadly, being that this season is only 14 episodes, leaving no time for filler or character development outside of Asagi, the rest of the Sailor Guardians are kind of bland. Nevertheless, they are still a vital part to the story thanks to a few things that deal with the villains of the show. More on that when I talk about them, though. The next Guardian to join in the fight is the genius with an IQ of 300, Ami Mizuno.
I am Sailor Mercury!
Ami appears to suffer from massive social anxiety as she is quite nervous around others, especially when Usagi first introduces herself to her.
You thought that cat was an angel?
Just ignore me. I'm not making sense. I'm sorry.
She starts out a bit unsure as to how she should respond, but soon finds herself a lot more comfortable as time goes on. From here we meet Rei Hino.
I am Sailor Mars!
Rei is a shrine maiden who apparently lives with a grandfather we never see and is great at being able to see the future.
What was that?
Compared to the original anime series, Rei acts like an entirely different person as she is not hot-headed in the slightest, nor does she ever berate Usagi for her follies.
Speaking of Usagi, where is she anyway? Her teacher gave her detention for falling asleep in class again. That does sound like her.
I don't know you anymore.
Sadly though, it kinda makes Rei the weakest member in this show as she doesn't have anything that makes her stand out from the other girls. Yuichi doesn't exist, nor does she have any sort of connection with Mamoru in this one. The fourth member of the team to appear is Makoto Kino.
I am Sailor Jupiter!
As to be expected, we find out Makoto has been living alone because her parents died.
Of course!
Unlike in the original anime, we do get to see a flashback scene with the boy who broke her heart.
Are you on your way home?
Huh? Oh, hey there, Kino.
I thought we could walk home together.
Didn't I tell you? I have a girlfriend now. So, yeah, I'm gonna walk home with her from now on.
Wow, he does exist. This encouraged her to move away so she would stop thinking about him. Other than that, there's not much more to Makoto in the show aside from her tough nature that sets her apart from the other Guardians. Also, unlike the 90s anime where she rescued Usagi from a bunch of thugs, in this one she just rescues Usagi from getting hit by a car.
Is that how you keep your guard up? Usagi!
Which seems more badass to you? Car, thugs. Car, thugs. I don't know, it seems like a tough one to me. Finally, she's also got a pretty cool attack.
Flower Hurricane!
What the hell is this? I can't move.
The standout of the four Guardians here is the fifth member, Minako Aino.
I am Sailor Venus!
At the beginning of the show, we learn that a warrior named Sailor V has been stopping a string of burglaries throughout Japan, and that there is even a video game based on her at a local arcade.
Oh, so this must be Sailor V. I wish I could be like her.
As it turns out, this game was actually created by Minako and her cat partner Artemis to train the other Guardians so they could handle battling the evil Dark Kingdom.
That looks like the moonstick Luna gave me.
Don't be afraid. You can do it. You're Sailor Moon.
Not to mention that the arcade game is actually a secret entrance to a sailor cave that is hidden below the arcade. That is frickin' cool.
Luna, what is this place?
No way.
A secret base!
Additionally, it is initially believed that Venus is actually the Moon Princess, when in reality she was actually a Kagemusha. For those who don't know what a Kagemusha is, it is essentially a person who acts as a body double for a leader. Political figures during feudal times would often have someone stand in for them if there was a chance an assassination attempt would be made or some type of other danger. As such, they would have a lookalike in their place should any tragedy occur to ensure their own survival.
She is Princess Serenity.
Moving on, this aspect really elevates Venus's characterization compared to the original anime as it gives her more to do.
Crescent Boomerang!
Not only that, but she is outright stated to be the leader of the Guardians, and later on in the season is meant to be the wielder of an ancient sword given to the Guardians to continue their mission of protecting the princess.
For the honor of Grayskull, I am She-Ra!
Just who is this princess? Well, I don't think I need to tell you at this point, as you either already know it or you don't. I'll go more into those details after I talk about the sixth hero, the Arsène Lupin-inspired Tuxedo Mask.
I shall remember your name, Sailor Moon.
Tuxedo Mask, or more specifically Mamoru Chiba, is given a lot more to do this time around compared to the previous iteration. His parents are still dead, but this time he is a high school student, making his relationship with a middle school student more sensible.
Who the heck wears a tuxedo in the middle of the afternoon anyway? What an arrogant jerk.
We learn right from the get-go that he is after an ancient jewel known as the Silver Crystal, which causes Luna to ponder if he is actually a friend or a foe.
He could just be using you to get to the crystal.
He's also quite smart as he quickly figures out that Usagi is Sailor Moon and falls in love with her.
I'm Mary Poppins, y'all!
While he would often be mean to Asagi in the original anime out of spite, I do like how comedic some of his appearances are, such as this moment on a bus.
By using your communicator.
Isn't it just a regular old watch? Luna, what's the matter?
Why are you talking to yourself?
When it is revealed that he was Prince of the Earth, we are shown that he gave his life protecting her when a rebellion emerged by the citizens of Earth wanting to conquer the Moon Kingdom out of jealousy.
While protecting you, he was slain. When he fell, so great was your despair that you took your own life.
A rose will bloom, it then will fade.
Unfortunately, unlike the original anime series, Usagi's family and friends like Naru and Umino are barely seen. They're pretty much background characters here and only exist to exposit various trends and news to both the audience and to Usagi.
I heard that some of the grooms-to-be who visited that shop with their girlfriends vanished off the face of the earth.
I will say though, Umino occasionally comes off a lot creepier this time around.
Hello, ladies!
Umino!
Come on, get with the program. Sailor Moon's what's hot. Right, Usagi?
I also do love the nod to Princess D looking just like him.
I've got a picture of her, even though it's nearly impossible to get one. Wanna see?
Is that the princess? She kinda looks a bit like you, Umino.
The villains. As with the first anime series, the villains of this series are the Dark Kingdom. Actually, they should probably just be renamed the Dark Rupees though, because you never really see anyone except for Beryl and the four Heavenly Kings.
The Dark Kingdom will reign supreme over the entire world.
Yes, my queen.
I mean, can you really consider yourself a kingdom with only 5 people?
No.
Queen Beryl is the ruler of this so-called kingdom. However, unlike in the original series, Beryl was nothing more than a peasant on Earth who fell in love with Endymion. She grew jealous of Princess Serenity's love for him and started a rebellion after coming into contact with an evil being made of energy named Metalia.
I broke the seal and freed Queen Metalia from her ancient prison. It may have been my destiny to release her, but when it comes to the legendary Silver Crystal, I won't hand it over so easily.
This really defines her character so much better than her just being evil for the sake of it. Not that I have anything wrong with that, as not every villain needs a reason to be evil, as some are just born evil. But it does elevate the storytelling if you can add some depth to their villainy.
I want that crystal immediately. This time I will be victorious, and I will reign over this world once more.
Now I'm just going to lump the 4 kings together, as the show doesn't really have time to develop them very much individually like we got with the 90s series. They are Jadeite, Nephrite, Zoisite, and Kunzite. Jadeite attempts to gather energy from the earth using clay dolls a couple of times, while everyone else just tries to either kill the Guardians or capture the Silver Crystal. What does help the four stand out compared to what was done in the past is not only were they once Prince Adamian's knights, but they were also the boyfriends to the four guardians. What's interesting here is this concept was something Naoko thought up long after she had written this arc, so this never was a thing in the manga. Thus, Toei decided to take advantage of this bit and put it into this show. Unfortunately, the manner and how it was executed was a farce. It pretty much boils down to this: we remember you, and we're dead. Think I'm kidding? Here you go.
Hello, Kunzite.
Weak-minded fools!
The animation and music. If there is one thing this show excels at, it is in its operatic soundtrack. As for the animation, it leaves a lot to be desired. The animation is pretty hit or miss at times, which is not how a series animated in 2014 should be. There are often times where the characters' eyes look lifeless or buggy.
What was that?
Oh great, now she's staring into my soul. Stop that! The CGI transformation scenes are not only atrocious looking, but they look out of place. Fortunately, the attacks aren't bad. To make matters worse though, the more serious nature of the show keeps the animation from looking lively. Just look at this scene here when Usagi thinks about being friends with Ami and Crystal.
I become friends with her, she can teach me how to study so I can do better on tests. Then I can be a genius too.
And compare it to the original.
If we became friends, then maybe she could help teach me how to ace my tests.
The differences are night and day. Now, I'm not saying Crystal is wrong, because again, this show is meant to be more serious. However, there just doesn't seem to be any sort of emotion going on, and we only know Usagi is having devious thoughts because she tells us she is. When you have to tell your audience what the character is thinking for them to understand, all meaning is lost. In the old anime series, you could have the volume off and know Usagi was not having pure thoughts at all based on the facial expressions displayed. Here, you get none of that. In fact, it makes the show feel like it lacks any sort of energy. Wait a minute. Does this mean that this show is actually created by the Dark Kingdom, and the only reason it feels like it lacks energy is because we had our energy taken away when we watched it without our knowledge of it? I'm on to you, Toei. I know your game. Wait, are they flying?
Supreme Thunder! Crescent Boomerang!
What? I've never seen you this strong and confident.
Since when is Usagi that ninja-like in her movements? She can't move like that at school. Why can she move like that now? That doesn't make any sense to me. Okay? How is it that the original anime was a lot more grounded despite being sillier, where this one's meant to be serious and yet they can fly?
There's a simple explanation for that.
Thankfully, the new opening theme by Revel and Momoiro Clover Z, Moon Pride, is just as spectacular as Moonlight Legend was in the original. Contrasting that is an average at best ending theme by Akiko Kosaku titled Gecko. It's by the book with what you want for an ending theme to sway your audience out of the fast-paced action they had just watched that was enhanced by a superbly theatrical score from composer Yasuharu Takahashi, but it doesn't mean it needs to be boring. Speaking of Takahashi, you may recognize his works from other anime series such as Hellgirl, The Wallflower, Gantz, Naruto, Itsuro no Kiss, Fairy Tail, and Log Horizon. Overall, I just adore the score in this show with its plethora of great tracks.
It's been so long, but it was well worth the wait. This is the moment I've dreamed of since the day I pledged myself to Queen Metalia.
Trying to blind me?
Evil spirit, be gone! Supreme
so damn good.
The episodes.
Filler? Character development? What's that? We've only got 14 episodes to get through this whole story, so come on! Move! In fact, it reminds me of that episode of the classic series when Jadeite messes with time, making everyone feel like they are always behind schedule and rushing. Thus, while I do have a favorite episode, I don't really have one I dislike, but rather a moment I actually despised. After the event that reveals the truth behind Mamoru and Usagi's relationship, her hair grows extremely long for no reason whatsoever.
Usagi? What happened to your hair?
It just does, and there's no explanation for it. They just say,
Back when you were the princess, you would always let your hair grow long. Now that your memory's back, your body's just changing back a little too. Don't worry about it.
That tells us nothing as to why her hair suddenly grew long, and it's such a pointless, stupid moment that makes no sense. It feels like fluff just because the manga chapter may have been too short. Now for my favorite episode, it is the one titled Makoto Kino, Sailor Jupiter. As the title implies, it is the first episode with Jupiter. It has a really good horror-esque moment in it where a mannequin at a bridal shop comes to life. Afterwards, it sets its sights on Motoki.
Huh? Is that a bride?
Yes.
Then attacks Makoto.
Look into my eyes. I love you.
It's such an awesome moment and the closest thing the series ever had to a nice standalone Monster of the Week story. Not to mention that the monster itself was quite cool looking.
Pour out all of your energy. Sacrifice yourselves to our great ruler.
Despite its flaws, Sailor Moon Crystal does an excellent job of adapting the manga to television, which does give it its own sense of identity compared to the original anime series. It also tries to rectify the mistakes the manga made with the Dark Kingdom, even if it isn't perfect. As such, I am going to give Sailor Moon Crystal a 4 out of 5 grown-ups in spandex. Or rather, I guess it should be sailor uniforms as opposed to spandex, but whatever. This is a show you should definitely give a chance to, especially in English. This is one of those few times I actually have to say that the English language dub excels over the original Japanese.
That's not to say there's anything wrong with the show in Japanese. However, as much as I love Kotono Mitsuishi's Usagi in the original anime, her voice here just doesn't fit the tone of this incarnation. Mitsuyushi's 20-year-older voice is playing her as if she is still the same character when she is not. This Usagi is meant to be more mature, more grounded in reality, and that is exactly how English voice actress Stephanie Sheh portrays her as.
Hey, Nani? どうしたの、まこちゃん? だって顔顔何みんなして何なのよ
Hey, what is it? What are you laughing at, Mako?
It's your face, Usagi.
My face? What is it? Tell me, you guys! What's wrong with my face?
Either way, you still can't go wrong. I just would recommend watching it dubbed if you don't care which language track you watch it in. Until next time, bye.
So it wasn't the crystal we were looking for.
Move along.